Hello, welcome back to Nicole's diary. Yeah, I'm back again with another video, and in this video I'm going to be discussing a very interesting topic that I know you wouldn't really want to miss out on. So this is a topic that I've been approached on very many times, and I've had to give my opinion on this particular topic to so many people out there. And yeah, I would love to have the same discussion in this video, and as well I'm very eager and inquisitive to know what some of your opinions will be with this topic. So before I go any further into rambling, I'll just request you guys to please like the video, subscribe, and share it among your friends, and let's get this video started. Okay, so guys, I'm going to be discussing a very interesting topic, as I had said earlier, which is the pros and the cons of living alone. Yeah, so this has been a very interesting topic for me because I've communicated with lots of people regarding this particular topic. Some of them have shared with me their own experiences, and some of the experiences that they shared with me were also similar to some of the experiences that I faced on my own. So I'm just going to share with you guys some of the pros and the cons of living alone. Yeah, but before I go into that, I'll just break it down a little bit with telling you a small story of how I started living alone. So originally I'm from Uganda, and of course being back home, you do not, in most cases, like even when you get done with school, you'll always find majority of the youths still staying at home with their parents and all that stuff. So when I got done with university, when I graduated, I began to apply for very many different opportunities. And if there's one thing that I knew, was that it was my dream to always travel. Like, I did not want to limit myself with only staying in my country, but I wanted to have an international experience as well. So that is what prompted me to start applying for international jobs, and I dropped a couple of applications here and there, which really was not easy. I got so many rejections. I did dozens and dozens of interviews, and at the time when I almost wanted to give up, that is when something positive finally happened, and my first international travel was coming here to India. That was in 2017. So me leaving home at that particular time meant that I was going to have to prepare myself to live alone. However, when I came to India that very first time, I was not living alone. I was sharing with a couple of other people, and if I remember very well, we were 9, yes, we were 9 people in the same house. Yeah, so but then of course, fast forward to currently now, I've been able to also live alone here in India. So practically I've had like both experiences of sharing and at the same time living alone here in India. So I'll now just go straight into some of the pros and the cons of living alone, and I'll just get to share with you guys my experience on that. So I'll start with the pro. So one of the advantages that I'll say with living alone is that it gives you independence. You know, it makes you to become independent and responsible. So at the end of the day, you know very well that, okay, I have this space to myself. So it makes you become responsible for your own space, your own emotional well-being, as well as financial well-being. When I look back to how far I have come from and I see myself now, I can really say that living alone has really helped me both emotionally and financially. Emotionally, being the fact that it has taught me like to become responsible for myself, for my space, and at the same time also financially, it has taught me to be responsible with my finances when it comes to living alone, because it teaches you the importance of how to manage your finances. And when I remember back in the day when I was still at home living with my mom, sometimes I used to take things for granted, like for example, maybe I would sleep late and then I probably forget to switch off the lights and I just leave them on turning. And I remember my mom used to tell me, but you know what? The way you like to waste this electricity just because you're not the one who pays for it, but time will come when you will have to be responsible for your own bills at one point in time, and you'll get to realize you'll get to remember my words. And indeed, whenever I think about her words, it is so true, because I've stayed, as I said in the beginning, I've shared my accommodation with people, but at the same time I've lived alone, which has really taught me to be very conscious with my spendings, with the way I manage my household when it comes to electricity, power. Yeah, no, of course electricity is the same as the power, water, and all those other bills at the end of the day, because if you mishandle this, then of course the cost is going to be on you. So yeah, I can say that is one of the advantages that has helped me with living alone. And then number two, I'll go to living alone has also helped me to, first of all, to know how to manage my time, because sometimes like when you go out, especially like if at all you're staying with your family, sometimes when you go out, you don't really you don't take that much precaution when it comes to maybe like staying at home, and then you probably have gone out and then you come back home late, because at the end of the day, after all, there are people at home, they will probably check up on me to find out where I am, But living alone, I can say it has really taught me to be responsible, because those days I used to tell myself that when I live alone, I'll probably come back home maybe at midnight, at 4 a.m., those crazy weird times. But staying alone has taught me to be responsible and to manage my time accordingly. And once I'm done with work and whatever business that I have to do outside, I make sure that I do not waste time maybe going out, probably hanging out with people and all that stuff. I know the time that I have to be at home. I'm not saying that hanging out probably after work or school is a bad thing, but it has just taught me to be more responsible in terms of taking care of myself, because the streets out here are also not easy, so you need to mind about your safety as well. Yeah, I'll go to the next point of the pro of living alone, which I will say that it has taught me to really appreciate my parents and how they have raised me. Just seeing them through all this time that I have grown, I have really gotten to see what they have passed through when it comes to raising me as a child, and at the same time also being able to manage a whole home on their own. This has as well taught me a lot. I've now gotten to experience what it means to manage your own home on your own, when it comes to maintaining it, its welfare, its maintenance, and just general responsibilities, practically, as I may say, of handling a home. It's not something easy, but the beauty about living alone is that it teaches you how to experience that. It teaches you that experience, in other words, and it helps you to know how to manage a home better. It helps you to make better decisions accordingly. Yeah. And then we'll go to the next point. I can also say that living alone has as well kind of given my family a chance to also focus on themselves. Now, I'm not saying that this is a good thing, no, a bad thing. It actually is a good thing on the other hand, because like I remember whenever I'm home, I don't know, sometimes it just makes me feel more like a burden to them, which honestly speaking, like, even though of course at the end of the day a parent is a parent and they'll always tell you, come on, no, you're my child and what have you, don't worry, and all those things. But then sometimes, you know, when you grow up, growing up also comes with its own kind of maturity, and sometimes when you're staying like at home, it just makes you feel like, okay, you're a burden and all those things. So the advantage of me staying alone has helped me like not to feel a burden to my family, and instead given them that opportunity to focus on other things other than having probably to worry about me, if I can say that in short. Yeah, just comment down below if you guys also have probably faced a similar way to me or have a similar experience. Please feel free to share it in the comment section. Okay. And then the next point that I'll also talk about is that living alone, oh my god, it gives you freedom, like freedom to do whatever it is that you want. Because I cannot begin to tell you guys how much, if there's one thing that I am so particular about, is the hygiene of my place. Like, I keep it so clean. And whenever I share it, like during the times that I've shared with people, sometimes they may not have the same goals like you. Sometimes you will find that you will always be different from your roommate in one way or the other. You may want probably things to be done this way, and they may want things to be done the other way, which may probably not rub you the right way. So living alone has given me that advantage to just enjoy that freedom and not have to worry of whether my place is dirty or whether it's clean, because at the end of the day, I know nobody's going to come for me, nobody's going to tell me, why is your place like this, Nicole? Why is your place like that, Nicole? Or why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You know, I am in control of my space and myself and whatever it is that I choose to do. So that's the advantage of living alone. And also this point, I will link it to the point of avoiding drama or stress, if I may say, because sometimes when you stay with people or when you're sharing with someone, it brings unnecessary drama to your life. Now, here in India, of course, like I said, the first time I was here was in 2017, and I was staying with 9 people. I was sharing a flat with 9 people. It was a 3-bedroom house, but of course, all the 3-bedroom houses were still having people sharing. So in a room would be like maybe 3 or 4. And to be honest, in that kind of environment, it's so hard to avoid drama, you know, because at some point, however much you may try to avoid it and just have your own peace, but there's going to come a time whereby even something so tiny will trigger that, will trigger just something out of the blue, and then before you know it, it becomes, you know. And that time I also had a very stressful job, so the last thing that I wanted was to again come back home and have to deal with another whole load of drama. So it was really stressful, but at least staying alone has kind of like minimized some of those challenges of having to deal with people's stress and drama. if I may say, at the end of the day. So yeah. Yeah, I'll go to the next point. It also helps. Living alone also gives you a lot of privacy, especially if at all you're a person who really likes to have your own space, your own privacy. It is something so good because at the end of the day you have your space to yourself. You don't have like nobody's going to come and just give you headache or do whatever it is they want to do at a time probably that you're not comfortable with, or they're probably doing something that you don't want them to do but you cannot tell them. I remember there was a time like when I had one roommate I was staying with, and there are times whereby I just used to want to have my own quiet time, and then there are times like she would come along with her friends, and then they would make like a lot of noise on top of their voices, and I was like, really? And sometimes I would go and I talk to her and I'm like, can you please tone it down? Like, tell your friends to just tone it down, because there are times whereby I just wanted that me time. And it used to inconvenience me so much that I was like, okay, really. But then, yeah, so that was something that I had to face, that I had to deal with, which was not really easy, but it kind of helped me, it really, really did. So, yeah, I can say living alone like gives you that whole freedom of just owning your own space to yourself. Okay, now living alone also is something that is going to teach you very important life skills. What do I mean by this? Back in those days, like, I don't know, with the way I was raised, like majority of my life at home I have been surrounded with maids, so it kind of like made me to take things for granted, especially like when it came to me doing my own laundry, cooking, and just doing these small tiny chores of your own. It made me to kind of take things for granted in respect to that. And to be honest, I wasn't a very, very good cook by then, because like I said, most of my life, like, I was raised having different maids around, so I knew that even if I didn't bother to do this, who cares, after all, there's a maid, right? And my mom would always tell me, you know what, you need to learn how to cook. You're going to be someone's wife one day. You need to learn how to cook. These are the things that you're supposed to know as a lady and all that stuff. And I used to just listen to her talk, and I was just taking things, for granted. I was not like really minding her words and all. But now that I've lived alone, or that I'm living alone, it has really taught me to realize that she had a very good point, because when you're staying alone, you have to be responsible for yourself. That does not only mean keeping your place clean, or probably doing your own laundry, probably paying your own bills, but you're also equally responsible for what gets inside your stomach. And of course, there is no way the food is going to get inside your stomach without it being cooked, right? So definitely, whether you like it or not, you'll have to up that skill in case if you're not that good at it. So me staying on my own has given me that opportunity to get to develop some of the skills that I really sucked at, or that I wasn't like all that good at, or I just didn't want to do them. And now that I see, like, of course, I've cooked for very many different people, and now they get to appreciate my meals here and there, and I'm like, okay. So it has kind of like built my confidence, and all that I must obviously give thanks to living on my own, because if I wasn't living on my own, then it wouldn't have made me to get out of my comfort zone and actually go ahead and do the needful for myself. Yeah, So I think I've given, yeah, I think that's what I have on the side of the pros. Now I'll go to the other side of cons, because obviously at the end of the day there is nothing that has only a good side. Everything has obviously got a good side and a bad side. So the first con that I will say is that living alone is challenging, especially when it comes to loneliness. That is something that you will have to deal with when you live alone. I've faced this a lot, and to be honest, sometimes it's so tough. Like, it's really tough, because sometimes you just feel you want somebody by your presence, to talk to just probably share your problems with, or whatever it is. But of course, when you're on your own, it becomes so hard. The most that you can only do is probably to talk to people over the phone, or maybe you can go and hang out with people. But after that, when you're back in your place, what happens next? You're practically on your own. So it has made me to feel lonely at times, and bored as well, because sometimes I just feel I want to talk to someone, but there's nobody. So that is something that I've had to deal with. Then going to the next con, I'll also say it's also a bit challenging living alone emotionally, because there are times whereby I need someone's opinion on something, or probably I need advice on maybe something that I'm dealing with, and I don't have anyone to share my problems with, or to give me advice and all those things. And I'm a person who, like, in most cases, if at all I'm dealing with something that I feel is too much for me to handle on my own, most of the times I usually prefer sharing it with someone, in order to just get that encouragement, that support. So staying on my own has definitely, of course, been challenging in terms of me having that support system when it comes to sharing whatever it is that I'm facing. Yeah. And then the other con that I will also say comes with living alone is you'll have to be responsible for your own well-being. What do I mean by this? For instance, when you fall sick, you're not going to have anyone to take care of you, and sometimes it's really urgent to have someone to take care of you, because you may probably need to go to the hospital, you may probably need maybe someone to just help you, cook for you, or just offer their support to you, but then you don't have anyone. I remember there's a time I was so stressed. I came back from work, I was so tired, I was stressed up, and then I just collapsed in the house, and I was alone, and there was nobody to help me. So it was a very, very trying time, and a horrible experience at the same time, because I didn't have anyone at all to give me that hand of support at that urgent time that I needed it. So I can definitely say that living alone is really challenging when it comes to taking care of yourself, especially emotionally, physically. It's challenging. Another disadvantage also of living alone is sometimes your safety is compromised, because there are times I've stayed on my own. Like, there's a time I remember I was watching a horror movie and to make matters worse, I mean, of course I'm a fan of horror movies, but then I just don't like watching them alone at night. And this was some kind of a very, very scary horror movie. And trust you me, that night I didn't sleep. Like, I literally couldn't sleep, because I kept envisioning whatever I had watched in my sleep. Like, every time I would just close my eyes like this, I would see like the images that I saw, and it scared me. So majority of the time my eyes were just open like this. I would not sleep because I was so scared. And any tiny noise that I could hear, maybe probably, I don't know, just any tiny noise from anything in the house that I would hear would make me feel so scared. I would be like, oh my god, is someone trying to break into my house or what? So man, it's tight, it's challenging. So yeah, sometimes at least when you're sharing with someone, it becomes of an advantage, because in case, even let's say for example, maybe someone is trying to break into your house, at least you know, okay, you have someone inside who can probably, you can probably be a source of protection to one another. But then when you're alone, you have to deal with all that on your own, which at times is frustrating and scary at the same time. Okay. Yeah, living alone also is so sometimes sharing with someone at some point is also good in terms of safety, because like, let's say, like there are times whereby when I could go out and I know I have a roommate, it wouldn't make me so scared, because I'd be like, after all, I've left someone in the house. But now imagine a situation whereby, like there's a time I remember I was going out, and then I forgot to close my door, like to lock it. And when I came back, that is when I literally discovered that, oh my gosh, I had gone without locking my door. It was so scary, you know? And I mean, of course, it's not something that happens on a daily, no, but sometimes just certain things just happen. Sometimes you just end up forgetting and taking things for granted. But when you're sharing with someone, you don't really have to worry about whether you locked your door, or you know, maybe kept your valuable properties or stuff in a safe place, because you know at the end of the day, at least I know I've left someone there. So yeah, so anyway, yeah, so these are some of the pros and the cons that I would say are some of the experiences in general that I've gone through while living alone. So yeah, I would like you guys to just share with me what are some of the experiences that you've had living alone. What are some of the advantages and some of the disadvantages? Do you prefer staying on your own, or do you prefer living with someone? To me, in general, I would say that despite the disadvantages of living with someone, I would still choose living alone over sharing. That's just my opinion. Because there are, like I said, like I've mentioned to you, or I've told you some of the pros that come with living on your own. These are some things that I have personally gone through, and I have come to appreciate the person that I am today because of living alone. I don't know, there's just a way that living alone teaches you to become more responsible, more independent, in terms of, I mean, financially, emotionally, physically, and all that. So definitely I would still choose living on my own over sharing. But of course, that's just my opinion. You guys are also free to give me your own experiences or your own opinions in regards to this. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. This is it for the video. And yeah, I would just love it if you guys go ahead and subscribe, like the channel, share it, and please do not also forget to turn on your notification bells, because that way you get notified every time I upload a new video. So I'll definitely catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.